Happy Super Bowl week, Steelers Nation. My name is Jack Sperry, and you are watching Steelers Talk Live. Shout out to all the real ones that are tuning in right at the beginning of today's show. And we got a bunch of great stuff coming your way on today's program, where we're going to have the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers for you guys coming up here. Art Rooney talked with Pittsburgh media earlier this week, or actually today, talking about Kenny Pickett, the quarterback situation, some very juicy stuff from the Steelers owner that we're going to break down. Adam Schefter came out with a bombshell report on Pat McAfee yesterday, saying what it's going to cost the Pittsburgh Steelers to trade for quarterback Justin Fields if they decide to do so. And then also we're going to be talking about why T.J. Watt deserves the Defensive Player of the Year award at the NFL Honors tomorrow night. We're also going to be going into a mock draft roundup of all the top NFL draft media outlets and who they're projecting the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take in the 2024 NFL Draft in the first round. We got some great scouting reports for you guys on four really high-end NFL draft prospects this year. I got my scouting reports on those guys. And then also we got the Steelers Talk Live mailbag. Make sure you guys use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get your questions on today's mailbag. Make sure you guys get those questions in. And you know what, guys? Of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we wish that they were playing this week, all right? We really do. Of course, the standard is the standard here in Pittsburgh, and we want to get back to playing in and winning Super Bowls. But you know what, man? Things are starting to get better. I have a feeling that the Steelers are going to make the right calls with Omar Khan leading the way this offseason. So let's enjoy it right now, and let's hope our boy T.J. Watt gets that Defensive Player of the Year trophy tomorrow, baby. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Producer Coop, how are we doing today, my friend?
Let's go. It's Super Bowl week. I wish the Steelers were playing, but other than that, it's been a good week.
It's been a good week. Tomorrow, the NFL honors. Hopefully, T.J. Watt gets that Defensive Player of the Year trophy.
He should.
You can make an argument that Joey Porter Jr. should win Defensive Rookie of the Year, even though he's not going to win that tomorrow night. But overall, Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers there in Las Vegas on Sunday. Who do you think is going to win that game, Coop?
I refuse to bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs until proven otherwise, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. You know, Brock Purdy playing in his first Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a good game up until like the middle of the fourth quarter. The 49ers might have a shot to take the lead, but then Purdy's ass gets a little tight there, and then, you know... The tight sphincters?
They'll have to punt it away. Mahomes will score another touchdown, and they'll be up by 2 scores, and then I'm just not sure Purdy is the type of guy that's going to be able to go up against that Chiefs defense when they know he's throwing the football and is able to lead a double-digit point comeback in the fourth quarter. So for me, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl yet again. What'd you say?
I was saying, you guys let us know in the comments who you guys want to win or who you think's going to win, Chiefs or Niners.
Yeah, let us know down in the chat right now. Kansas City or San Francisco? Which one do you think is going to win the Super Bowl on Sunday? Make sure you get your answers in here while we go over our first sponsor read of today's show. And big shout out to Game Time for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk Live. If you're thinking about getting tickets to the big game in Vegas on Sunday, then use today's sponsor, Game Time, to help getting those expensive tickets just a little bit easier. For all of our listeners, if you use code VEGAS100, that's one word, all caps, you see it right down there in the bottom right of your screen, you'll get $100 off to help get your butt to Allegiant Stadium on February 11th, this Sunday, to watch the NFC and AFC champions in the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, respectively, duke it out for the Lombardi Trophy in the biggest game of the year. And not only is Game Time offering that $100 off to the big game when you use code VEGAS100, but they are also the fastest growing ticketing app in the country. Game Time boasts a lowest price guarantee on all tickets to any event. So it's the only ticketing app that you need on your phone. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are also sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through that pesky email to get your tickets. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat. Once again, right down there in the bottom right of your screen, one word, all caps. for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat, one word, all caps, for $20 off. And again, use code Vegas100, one word, all caps, for $100 off to the tickets to the big game in Vegas this Sunday. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So now, Coop, of course, tomorrow, we already talked about it. It is the NFL Honors Awards. We're going to learn MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and, of course, Defensive Player of the Year, where it's most likely going to be either Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt.
Correct.
There's some people that try to make the case for Micah Parsons, but I don't think Micah's going to come away with it. For most of the Defensive Player of the Year awards that are not with the Associated Press, which is what this award is, T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett have been kind of splitting them.
Yes.
I mean, they've been kind of going back and forth with getting Defensive Player of the Year awards across the country. This is the whole shebang right here, though. This is the official AP Defensive Player of the Year, and I think it's got to be TJ.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later in the show. But what I think is an absolute joke is when people use the argument of the Browns had the best defense in the NFL. Last time I checked, this isn't a team award. This is about who the best player is.
And not only that, but I think they were like 13th.
Yeah.
In points per game allowed?
So they weren't the best.
They weren't the best defense. I mean, I think both. You can make an argument that the two defenses playing on Sunday were better than the Cleveland Browns this past year. Now, I know they had injuries to deal with.
That's not my problem.
But so did the Steelers. So I don't want to hear that the Browns had the best defense in football last year because they just didn't.
Yeah, the Steelers' second best player on defense was out for half the season.
Yeah, exactly. Minkah was out for a long time. T.J. Watt was fantastic the entire way through, and the numbers. I mean, he's leading Myles Garrett in pretty much every defensive category, and yet Myles Garrett is going into tomorrow night as the favorite to be the Defensive Player of the Year.
I freaking hate Myles Garrett.
That freaking sucks, man. Especially, I mean, if it was Micah Parsons, like I'd be like, all right, it's somebody in another conference.
Yeah, but
he's
it's
a really good player.
Myles Garrett.
But to lose it to a Cleveland Steamer? Are you kidding me?
Are you joking?
To get robbed of an award from a Cleveland Steamer would just be absolutely terrible.
I'd be pissed.
All right, so we got some special promotions here on Steelers Talk Live for the month of February here. We got some special promotions. So any super chat, you're going to get a shout out on the show. So if you got a question, you got an idea, you want to get on the mailbag, the best way to guarantee your spot on the mailbag is that you send in a super chat with your question. Then we got some special promotions this month. Every $10 that you spend during the month of February here on the channel equals one raffle ticket to win an F the Cleveland Browns t-shirt. Can we show that photo real quick? There it is right there. This is the t-shirt that you could win. We're going to give away one of these things to one lucky winner at the end of the month. Every $10 that you spend. So if you spend $100, you get 10 raffle tickets to win that t-shirt. Every $20 super chat. You guys know we did the hard hat during the season for our watch parties. We got a full-size Riddell Speed Flex helmet for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
don't wear it when you play tackle football.
Don't wear it, all right? This is just for display. It even has a sticker on there that says don't wear it in a football game. So every person that puts in a $20 super chat all throughout this offseason, we got these Sharpies over here. We're going to put your name on the helmet, and then we're going to raffle this baby off at the end of the offseason. So if you want to get on the Helmet Hall of Fame, make sure you get that $20 super chat in. Not to mention, you get two raffle tickets to get that F the Browns t-shirt if you put in a $20 super chat as well. Then, of course, $100 total on a singular Steelers Talk live stream. Not only will you get your name on the helmet, not only will you have 10 raffle tickets to win that F the Browns t-shirt at the end of the month, but also you're going to be able to join Steelers Talk Gold Club, which is an exclusive club here at Steelers Talk. You get a Steelers Talk Gold Club sticker, and you get a shout-out on every show. We'll give some Gold Club shout-outs here in just a while. But we also have another special promotion, and it's called a $50 Super Chat Race. Okay, so the way that it's going to work is that the person that puts in the most $50 Super Chats for the month of February is going to win this customized MVP jersey from us here at Chat Sports. It says February Yins MVP, and then the number 29 for the days of the month in February,
leap year.
Of course, is 29. It's a leap year this year, so this is a very unique jersey. There's only going to be one made with this number, with this name, and you can, when you wear this to Acrisure Stadium, if you wear this out in Pittsburgh, if you wear it wherever you're at, people are going to know that you were an MVP here on Steelers Talk for the month of February. So make sure you get those $50 Super Chats in. The most $50 Super Chats will win the MVP award this month. All right, so here's the Gold Club members here. Shout out to Austin, Mo Love, Brian Love, Anthony Fuller, Nathan, James, DJ V, Patty Gustafson, Liptic 6, Alexander, Zach Eckert, Troy Hart, Andrew, Jesse, Go Blue, Samuel, Hot Rod, Black and Gold Emperor 40, Lord Buddy Bear, Max Payne, Chad, F1, Steelers Dad, K Drizzy, Andrew, Jesper, Jacob, Nightmare Sporting, DJ KJ, Gwendolyn, Latanya, Etheria, Jesper, KJ Live Life, Kenny, Ryan, Marilyn, Matthew Bly, and Brian Hagan. And then here are our Black Diamonds. These are the people that have put in $500 or more on a singular stream. These are the Steelers Talk legends. So shout out to Samuel, F1, Nathan Glass, Kurgan Cold, Gold Blue Buckeye, Elliptic 6, Gwendolyn, and our newest Black Diamond, Marilyn Krieger. So if you guys want to get a shout out on a future edition of Steelers Talk, this is all you got to do. You got to go to my Twitter here at Jack_Sperry, all right? And then you got to give me a follow. That's all you got to do. So if you don't have $100 to spend on a Gold Club membership here at Steelers Talk, you can still get a shout out for free. If you get it, if you go on your Twitter, you give me a follow at Jack_Sperry. All right, so we got about 78 people watching right now. We got 25 likes. I want to get that up to 40 likes before we get into our first segment here. We got the latest news and rumors on the Pittsburgh Steelers, talking about Art Rooney, talking about Adam Schefter's report on Justin Fields. We're going to be talking a lot about Kenny Pickett today as well. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon. Help us get to 40 likes, and we'll get into our first segment today. Got to make sure you hydrate there, Coop. So let's see who people think is going to win the Super Bowl. We've got Marilyn Krieger says KC. Offsides Edit says KC. Deshaun says KC. Leo Rush says Chiefs. Kevin says KC. Gary Reynolds is here. What's up, Gary? Gary, it's good to see your face, man. He says 49ers. Daryl Oglesby with a KC. Steelers Dad with a KC. Dominic is here with the 49ers. Justin Manecki, I hope I'm saying that right, says 49ers. My mother is here. Patty Gustafson.
Patty G.
Good to see your face, Mom. She says Kansas City is going to win. So, I mean, you got to listen to Mom, man. You got to listen to her.
And Cassie.
She usually is Cassie here?
Yeah, she says KC.
Yeah, Cassie says Chiefs are winning. Good to see you too, Cassie. All right. So we got 39 likes. We need one more like before we can get into our first segment. And listen, man, it's a juicy one, man. Coop and I were scripting the show today. We're like, man, this is going to be a good news and rumors segment. The Steelers owner talked about the Steelers quarterback situation. Lots of drama around the QB spot for the black and gold this offseason. We just got to 40 likes. Let's get it going, Coop. You ready to get this first segment underway?
Give me one moment.
All righty. All right, man. Let's go right now. Let's get into this first segment right now. The latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers owner Art Rooney has told Steelers media that the Steelers are going to be open to trading for a new quarterback for the 2024 season. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry. Today we're going to be breaking down Rooney's comments on the Steelers quarterback situation and what it could mean for the future at that position for the black and gold. But before we get into that, make sure you guys do me a favor, get down there in the comments section and let me know. Would you replace Kenny Pickett this offseason if you were in charge of making that huge decision for this franchise? Type yes or type no. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. So let's start with what Art Rooney II had to say about the quarterback situation. He says, as we sit here in early February, we're not closing the door on anything. We have a lot of evaluations to go through, and we'll go through all the options and do what we need to do to be better this coming season. Number one, would look like more points week in and week out. Just being a more effective offense, continuing to do some of the things we were able to do this year in terms of ball control, being able to run effectively, and then add on top of that scoring more points. So why this matters for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think that why it really matters is that these comments show that the Steelers are not fully confident in Kenny Pickett heading into year 3 of his NFL career. And honestly, I don't think Kenny Pickett has really earned that right to this point. Of course, he has not played good football through the first 2 years of his NFL career. And if the Steelers are not sure on Kenny Pickett heading into this massive season here with Mike Tomlin on the final year of his contract, with so much young talent and veteran talent available at the quarterback's disposal, new offensive coordinator coming in, if you're not feeling good about Kenny Pickett after 25 starts in the National Football League, I think you need to get somebody that you do feel that confident about moving forward, especially with as much talent as you have on the roster right now. Now, even though Rooney did say that they're going to turn over every stone here to kind of make sure they get the right quarterback, he did say that the Steelers still have a lot of confidence in Kenny Pickett moving forward. This is what he said. Obviously, we want to see Kenny take the next step. The first 2 seasons, what we saw was not bad, and I'm not going to say that. I think he sure showed himself to be a winner. He showed he's somebody that can bring a team back from behind late in the game. So a lot of positives from Kenny in the first 2 seasons. And listen, I think that the number one thing that you can look at Kenny Pickett's game and say, yeah, this is our guy, is that he has 7 game-winning drives and 14 career wins in the National Football League. I think that's like top 3 in the NFL over these last 2 seasons. So he's definitely somebody that's not afraid of big moments. He's not afraid to sling it. And he actually has done a pretty decent job when the defense knows he has to throw the football at the end of games. But the problem is you got to be good the first 3 quarters, all right? You can't just be good the last drive of the game and score a touchdown to get the win. You need to be able to really lead a team 2 wins, and you really have to be able to do that for all 4 quarters. And I think there's definitely enough wrong with Kenny Pickett's game to consider moving on from him and getting a different quarterback in 2024. So let's start with the number one reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers may be considering moving on from Kenny Pickett. And that's that they started Mason Rudolph over Pickett, not only in Week 17, Week 18, and in the playoffs, right? When Pickett was healthy, Pickett was good to go. And they went with Rudolph instead of Pickett. And the question worth asking here is that if the Steelers really have a high level of confidence in Kenny Pickett's ability to be the franchise quarterback here in Pittsburgh, why the hell are you starting his backup in a playoff game? I mean, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If you have a high level of confidence, Pickett's going to be the guy that can win you Super Bowls, and he's fully healthy and ready to go, why are you starting his backup? I mean, it just doesn't seem to me like there's a whole lot of confidence there. And then as somebody that has watched every single snap of the probably about 3 or 4 times on all 22 film for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year, you could tell that the play calling for Mason Rudolph, you could tell the Steelers have a lot more confidence in him throwing the football than they did with Kenny Pickett. So it doesn't seem like this team has a ton of confidence in him, and it seems like they trusted Mason Rudolph more. So if that's the case, why are you planning on sticking with Pickett in the future? Let me know down there in the comments section. Who's the better quarterback on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster? I know Mason Rudolph is about to hit free agency, but let me know which guy is the better quarterback. Type KP if you think Kenny's better, or if you think Mason Rudolph is actually the better quarterback here. Type MR down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Another reason to potentially move on from Kenny Pickett as the starting quarterback of this football team is that the guy just doesn't get the ball in the end zone, like at all right? So out of all the quarterbacks in NFL history with at least 500 passing attempts, Kenny Pickett is the only one with a touchdown percentage of less than 2%. It is currently at 1.9% of his passes in his career that have been thrown for a touchdown. That is astronomically terrible, all right? That is something that you just do not see anybody do. Get this many pass attempts and be that bad at getting the team into the end zone. You've never seen it. There's been many quarterbacks that have been straight up busts in the National Football League with a better touchdown percentage than Kenny Pickett at this point. Now, the big question here is it Kenny Pickett's fault? Is it Matt Canada's fault? Or is it some sort of combination of the two? Coming up here, I'm going to let you know what kind of role I think Matt Canada had in this struggle for Kenny Pickett to start his career. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando. And whether your New Year's resolution is hitting the gym, better hygiene, or simply vowing to keep things cool and fresh below the belt, Mando's whole body deodorant has got your back, or shall I say, your front. Say goodbye to last year's stink and upgrade to a whole new level of personal care with Mando's whole body deodorant today. Your pits and your balls will deserve the best for 2024. So here's the special offer our friends at Mando are offering to you guys today. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash, which I highly recommend. It smells great, or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Again, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% of your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Thank you so much to Mando for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. All right, so now number 3 reason to move on from Kenny Pickett is that his production, not just the touchdown percentage, just his production in general, was terrible, even with good weapons here in Pittsburgh. Because you got guys like George Pickens, you got guys like Deontay Johnson, Pat Fryman with a really good receiving tight end, a really good running back duo in Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. And he still wasn't any good with those guys, all right? So you look at this right here, his stats. Okay, he's 42nd in the league in touchdown percentage last year. That's garbage. Okay, the one thing that he did do well, all right, let's acknowledge the good as well. He was 3rd in the league in interception percentage, right? So he doesn't turn the ball over, but he doesn't push the ball down the field at all, all right, especially in the red zone, okay? Then the big-time throw percentage, bottom half of the league. He's worse than a couple of backups in true passer rating last year, and the EPA was 35th. Again, backup quarterbacks are getting better numbers than Kenny Pickett had last year, and then he was 31st in overall points above replacement, which is really the big figure that NFL front offices use to determine the value of players. And a big reason for that is because the kid's just not accurate, okay? And if you're not a special rusher of the football like a Justin Fields or something, you just can't afford to have these kinds of accuracy numbers. I mean, 37th in completion percentage, but he's 34th in average depth of target. I mean, how the frick does that happen? I don't understand how you can be a check down Charlie and you're still 37th in the league in completion percentage. How does that make any sense? And this is the guy that's supposed to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024 that's going to win us a Super Bowl? No way. Okay, and then you get into the red zone. Again, his numbers get even worse in the red zone. All right, 29th in the league in catchable ball percentage, 33rd in on-target percentage. The touchdown percentage still stinks at 9.4. And then his points above replacement, this guy was actually a negative value to the offense last year in the red zone. He was worth negative 4.2 points above replacement last year. That's garbage. And that's just not, maybe that's on Pickett, guys. Maybe that's not just on Matt Canada. If you're not accurate, if you're not taking advantage of your weapons, all these different things, all right? Can we just acknowledge that Matt Canada's offense was bad and Kenny Pickett was bad? I mean, for these numbers to be this horrendously awful, it takes a bad QB and a bad offense, all right? So I don't want to hear anybody using Matt Canada as a scapegoat for Kenny Pickett because, of course, he wasn't put in the best situation, but there was things he could have controlled that were within his power, like accuracy, okay, that he just didn't do. And that's going to affect an offense no matter what happens and no matter who is calling plays. And listen, the last reason here is that in the same offense, with the same offensive line, with the same weapons, all right, those same weapons that Kenny Pickett had, Rudolph played better than him, all right? He was a backup quarterback. I love Mason Rudolph. He's a Steelers legend for life for what he did this year. But he's a backup quarterback, and he straight up outplayed Kenny Pickett this year by a long shot, all right? You look at these numbers. I mean, it's not even close. Again, this is the same playbook, the same offensive line, and the same weapons, and a backup quarterback has over 10-plus points more in completion percentage. All right, he's throwing for more yards a game. He had half his touchdowns in less than half of his games. He had no interceptions. And then you look at the quarterback rating, it's obviously fantastic. And before you say, well, Kenny Pickett played well in his one game without Matt Canada, Guess what? I think Mason Rudolph played better than him in that game. He actually got the ball in the end zone twice that game. His quarterback rating was higher. He threw for more yards in that game against the same defense with the same play caller. All right, so I don't want to hear anything about Kenny Pickett being bad last year because of this offense or because the offensive line was bad or anything like that. Mason Rudolph, a backup quarterback, all right, a good backup at that. I will say that. He's a decent quarterback, was able to do pretty darn good in this offense, and Kenny Pickett simply wasn't. All right, so that's the long short of it here. But could the Steelers end up be interested in Justin Fields moving forward? Well, Adam Schefter, ESPN insider there, went on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and said what it's probably going to take for the Pittsburgh Steelers to trade for Justin Fields this offseason. And some people think it might be a little bit too high. But before I reveal what Justin Fields is apparently worth, according to Adam Schefter, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, you love the black and gold, and you want to learn more about the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. So the report from Adam Schefter here is that Justin Fields could be worth a first-round pick in a trade this offseason. And if the Steelers probably want to go get him, that means it's probably going to have to be a first, all right? Because what he was saying is it's probably going to take either a high second-round pick or a late first, all right? The Steelers don't have an early second-round pick, all right? And there's teams like Las Vegas, Atlanta especially, that are probably going to be very interested in trading for Justin Fields this offseason. Okay, so if the Steelers want to get him, I really do think it's probably going to cost a first-round pick, all right? So that's number 20 overall in exchange for Justin Fields. And listen, if you think this is too high of a price, I completely understand that. I really, really do, even though I am in favor of getting Justin Fields. But maybe a different idea that could work as well is that you can unload Deontay Johnson, a wide receiver who's not really a great fit for this offense anymore now that Arthur Smith is in town. He's on the last year of his contract. That might be a good trade candidate this offseason, and then you trade a third-round pick, number 84 overall, and you still get Justin Fields. You hang on to that first-round pick. Deontay Johnson, who's not a great fit anymore, is sent elsewhere to a team that would really use him there with Caleb Williams, I'm assuming, in Chicago, and then the Bears still get a pretty decent third-round pick there in exchange for Justin Fields. I think everyone's happy with that potential trade offer, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Which trade package would you rather send to Chicago in exchange for Justin Fields? Would you rather send the number 20 overall pick, or would you rather send Deontay Johnson and the number 84 pick? Type A or B for me down there in the comments section. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you guys type real one for me down there in the comment section if you made it to the end of today's show. And if you guys want a shout out on a future edition of Steelers Talk, all you have to do is give me a follow on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. So today's shout outs, give a shout out to Jack, Will, Luke, Vyoda to Big Ben. I don't know what that means. I think it's Steelers Nation Fanatic, Hondo, Native, and then Talkin' Sports. Again, all you have to do is follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry for a shout out on a future edition of Steelers Talk. All right, so one segment is in the books. Next up, we got the mock draft roundup. I'm going to be going over all the top NFL draft media outlets and who they're projecting the Steelers to take in this year's NFL draft.
It's pretty tasty.
Pretty tasty, man. There's some juice in that next segment. So make sure you guys stick around. We got 128 people watching. So which one is the better package here, Coop? Is it the number 20 overall pick, the first round pick, or the Deontay Johnson and the third round pick? I'm taking B. I'm taking B.
I don't know if I want to give up Deontay, though. I know he doesn't really fit with what Arthur Smith likes to do, but he's still a good receiver in this league, man.
Yeah, but are you willing to give up your first round draft pick for him? Because it sounds like that's what it's going to take.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know.
And this is, of course, all assuming that the Steelers want to trade for Justin Fields and not stick with Kenny Pickett.
I think I would rather give up number 20 for Fields.
I would disagree, man.
I think I would rather give up.
That's all right. Let us know what you guys think down there in the comments section. What would you rather do, A or B? Or not do it at all? Do you guys not want Fields? I mean, I certainly understand that point as well.
I think Fields would be great, but the asking price it's steep.
Yeah, but I mean, we're gonna get into a trade here, a trade up scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this mock draft roundup, where they have them taking a quarterback. And they have them giving up multiple first-round picks.
This is true.
Multiple third-round picks, and more.
Yeah, so you'd be giving up more for that quarterback versus Justin.
Versus like Deontay in a third for a guy that could be a superstar quarterback for you?
That's true.
That's a great fit in this offense. I mean, I think that's pretty good. All right, we got our first $20 super chat. The first name.
Let's go.
The first name to go on the helmet here is going to be Marilyn Krieger.
I'm unsurprised.
I am very
Maryland was my prediction for this.
I am not surprised whatsoever
Shout out
the first
to Maryland.
name is going to be Marilyn Krieger. Make sure you mark her down twice for that T-shirt raffle as well.
Yep, she'll be in.
I love it. Okay, so Marilyn, your name is going on here.
Shout out to Maryland.
Shout out to one of our Black Diamonds, Marilyn Krieger. One of the loyal fans here at Steelers Talk. Appreciate you, Marilyn. Thank you so much for your support. Again, Maryland, if you want to take the lead for the customized jersey, the MVP jersey this month, we're doing a $50 super chat race. Whoever puts in the most $50 super chats is going to win that jersey. So if you want to be this month's MVP, Maryland, a $50 super chat would put you first in the race so far. Really do appreciate you guys. We're going to get into this next segment right here. It's a mock draft roundup going over all the top names in the NFL draft industry and who they're picking. What's that?
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy, all right? We got one trade in here. We got one draft pick, one mock draft that's just going to freaking blow your mind here. This one is Mando as well, okay? So let's get into it right now. The latest mock draft roundup for the Pittsburgh Steelers coming at you right now. We are in NFL draft season. It is in full swing right now, Steelers Nation. So today I'm going to be reacting to which players the top NFL draft media outlets are projecting to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. But before we get into these scenarios today, make sure you click that subscribe button for in-depth premium Steelers draft coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason. We got the latest Steelers draft rumors on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to let you know everybody they're meeting with. We're going to let you know everyone they're interviewing. We're going to let you know everyone they bring in for a visit. All that news, all the rumors, who they're targeting, all that great stuff. We're going to have you covered. Also, in-depth prospect analysis. We're going to have some scouting reports on some prospects today. You can expect that from the show here from now all the way into to the big day there in Detroit. And then also we got weekly Steelers mock drafts here on the channel. We actually had our first one after the Senior Bowl earlier this week, so you can go check out that video after you're done with this one. I'll put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. So thank you guys for all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now. So we might as well start with dessert here, all right? Let's start with the juiciest one. That comes to us from one of my friends here, one of the most respectable people on YouTube, in my opinion, when it comes to football analysis, and it's that franchise, guys. So Marcus Whitman is a fellow Minnesotan. Okay, you guys know I'm from Minnesota. He's also from Minnesota. I'm a Steelers fan. He's a Green Bay Packers fan, but he's one of the best in terms of the YouTube space when it comes to scouting players, and I really respect the things that he says. And he did his mock draft here, and he has the Steelers trading up from number 20 to number 6 overall to take Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU, in the first round. So that would be an absolutely bombshell move by Omar Khan, the Steelers GM. So before I tell you the things that Marcus had to say about this potential trade-up, here's what I think about Jaden Daniels, all right? So, of course, he had a fantastic season with the Tigers last year. He won the Heisman Trophy. Of course, everyone knows his athleticism. He can run with the football, all these different things. But the thing that I was surprised about going through Daniels' film here this offseason is just how polished he is from the pocket. When he has a good pocket to work with, he has great pocket footwork. He plays with great base. And then everybody knows about the deep ball. He throws that deep ball with great touch. He arguably has the best deep ball of any passer in the draft this year. And then the pocket presence is actually pretty decent as well. Now, the cons with Jaden Daniels: inconsistent decision-making, especially when the pocket breaks down. Another thing is that he's not particularly great in terms of getting outside of the pocket and making plays as a passer. If he's leaving the pocket, he's usually trying to run with the football, whereas guys like Caleb Williams and Drake May, they'll make plays outside of the pocket with their arm. And then the third thing is that he's still a little bit skinny, and he's somebody that doesn't protect himself. When he runs, he takes big hits all the time on film. He's going to have to learn how to protect himself, and he's going to have to fill out a little bit more if he's going to prevent injury at the next level. I think he's worth a top 5 pick, absolutely, for the right team. Well, but I'll tell you a little bit whether or not I think the Steelers should make this move. But this is what Marcus Whitman, the guy from the franchise guy, had to say about trading up for Jayden Daniels. They've made their bet here when they chose to play Mason Rudolph over Kenny Pickett in that playoff game. If Kenny Pickett isn't good enough to play over Mason Rudolph in a playoff game in year 2, he's not your guy, right? You put Jayden Daniels here with these receivers, with George Pickens and his deep ball ability, with Jayden Daniels, who with nothing else is going to ignite this offense with his running ability and scrambling ability. You pair that with a defense that you have pretty big expectations for. This is not a team with a lot of needs outside of the quarterback position. You look at the window that this team has. You need an electric quarterback to compete in this division, and they're just kind of treading water right now. Let's make a splash. Let's see if Jayden Daniels can be a hit for the Steelers, and if he's not, so be it, but let's at least go for it. So this is the trade idea that he has with the Steelers trading up with the New York Giants to number 6 overall to take Jayden Daniels. He's going to give New York 2 first-round picks, 2024, 2025. All right, also 2 third-round picks, 2024, 2025, and then he has the Steelers giving up 1 of their 4th-round picks this year, number 120 overall. So that's in total 5 picks, 2 first-rounders to move up for Jayden Daniels. Let me know what you guys think about this potential trade package to move up for the Heisman Trophy winner. Would you like this trade? Type A for accept or type D for decline. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that time comes, do me a favor, find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section and let me know what you think. All right, man, so personally, I'm just not sure about this, but I'm going to let you guys know what my idea or my thoughts on this idea is here. I like Marcus, but I kind of disagree with it. I'll let you know why here in just a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando. And whether your New Year's resolution is hitting the gym, better hygiene, or simply vowing to keep things cool and fresh below the belt, Mando's whole body deodorant has got your back, or shall I say, your front. Say goodbye to last year's stink and upgrade to a whole new level of personal care with Mando's whole body deodorant today. Your pits and your balls deserve the best for 2024. So here's the special offer our friends at Mando are offering to you guys today. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash or deodorant wipes. I definitely recommend the mini body wash. It smells fantastic, and free shipping as well. Again, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack today when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. A big thank you to Mando for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. So my thoughts on trading up for Jayden Daniels here is that I get where he's coming from here, where the Steelers need to get a different, more dynamic talent at the quarterback position, but I don't think trading up for a rookie quarterback is the right call here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion, okay? When you look at the situation, I just think that, the Steelers need a dynamic quarterback, but a rookie quarterback's not going to win you a Super Bowl, all right? This team's ready to win now. They got a great defense now. They've got George Pickens now. They've got guys now, and rookie quarterbacks aren't built to win Super Bowls right away. So I really don't think, especially for the trade compensation, I'm really not sure if this is something that I am willing to do. I agree that the Steelers need to get more of a dynamic quarterback because, yes, the points where I agree is that Pittsburgh started Rudy over Kenny Pickett, so it's like, are you really all that confident in Pickett's ability moving forward? You started Rudolph over a healthy Kenny Pickett in the playoffs. Are you really thinking that guy that you benched is ever going to win a Super Bowl for you? And then also, of course, they need somebody more dynamic. But where I disagree here is that rookies do not win Super Bowl titles. They just don't, guys. All right, you look at the history of the National Football League, it takes them at least 2 to 3 years before they're really competing for Super Bowls. And guys like Brock Purdy that are there in their second year, extremely rare. And honestly, guys, I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are winning. I don't think Brock Purdy's going to get a Super Bowl ring in his second year. So I think that if your focus is on winning Super Bowls now, and I think that's where it's at here with Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin, I don't think a rookie quarterback is going to get that job done for you. And also, I do think the trade package is a bit too much. Absolutely. All right. 5 picks, 2 first-rounders to move up. I am not willing to do that whatsoever. And although I like Marcus, I think that he's a really good scout. I think he's a very respectable football mind and a guy that I really respect. I just don't think this is the right move for the Steelers. And I would rather go out and get somebody via trade like Justin Fields, somebody that's still on his rookie contract, has that same dynamic quality to his game that we would be getting with a guy like Jaden Daniels. But he's somebody that's been in this league, all right? He's somebody that still has a very bright future in this league and somebody that's still a very good fit for Arthur Smith's offense, in my opinion. Then also Russell Wilson, who he could get at the league minimum this year because of a clause in his contract with the Denver Broncos. So I think either one of these guys would be an excellent, excellent option to start for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. Instead of Jaden Daniels, they'll be cheaper. You won't have to give up draft capital. I did a video on both of these guys, why they would both be great options for the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. I'm going to put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. So now let's go over some other mock drafts here and who the rest of NFL draft media, kind of the bigger names, have the Steelers taking in round 1 of the 2024 NFL draft. I'm going to tell you who they have as the number 1 draft target for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in just a second. But first, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you're a real one. The real ones know that the best way to help out the channel is to click that like button because it tells the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to other Steelers fans like yourselves. It helps us grow. We really do appreciate your support, so make sure you click that thumbs up icon right now. So the number 1 draft target that seems to be mocked to the Steelers everywhere that you look is offensive tackle from the University of Georgia, Amarius Mims. Now, the outlets that have Mims to the Pittsburgh Steelers, ESPN's latest 2-round mock draft has the Steelers taking Mims. CBS's latest NFL mock draft has the Steelers taking Mims. And then same thing with the latest ones from NFL.com. Both Lance Zierlein and Bucky Brooks have the black and gold taking the kid out of Georgia here with the number 20 overall pick. So here's what I think about Amarius Mims. I'd be happy if the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up drafting him, all right? He's got great size. He's got long arms. He's very athletic, can move very, very easily, and he's great at run blocking. He plays with great motor. He plays with great energy and effort. This guy can pancake people, all right? Now, the cons, kind of similar to Broderick Jones last year, where the balance and pass protection and the hand placement definitely needs to improve. Plus, he's had a little bit of an injury history. But absolutely, man, he's a first-round caliber of offensive tackle. He could be a great tackle in this league. And honestly, he reminds me of Broderick Jones when I was watching his film last year. They're similar size. They got similar strengths. They have similar weaknesses. Now, do the Steelers want 2 guys that are pretty much carbon copies of each other? I don't know. I mean, obviously, they like Broderick last year. They like Georgia Bulldogs, so does it make sense for them to get essentially another Broderick Jones and just put him on the right side of the formation? Maybe. It's absolutely possible, and I wouldn't hate it whatsoever. But now let's talk about the latest Pro Football Focus mock draft here, and I think this is very interesting here. He has the Steelers taking Quinion Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo. He was the talk of the Senior Bowl last week. This guy is super sticky in coverage, and, you know, he came into this process with a couple of questions that needed to be answered during the process, and I think he did that at the Senior Bowl. So his pros, he's a good size at 6 foot, 196 pounds. He's got long arms, and he's great in all types of coverages, guys. Like, he can play cover 4 quarters. He can play off coverage, right? That's pretty much exclusively what he did there at Toledo. So the big question was, could he do the stuff in press man coverage that guys like Joey Porter Jr. and the best corners in the league can do, because he hasn't had much experience? Then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and he's arguably the best press man corner in Mobile. He was absolutely fantastic in whatever coverage you put him in. He's got super fluid hips. He's got the speed. He's got the recovery speed that you look for. And honestly, man, this guy reminds me a lot of Devon Witherspoon last year when, you know, Pro Football Focus was putting him in like the 2nd round and like the 65th overall prospect. I'm like, this guy looks like the best corner in the draft. And then by the end of the process, What do you know? He's a top 10 pick, right? He goes to Seattle, and he has arguably a defensive rookie of the year type of performance. So Mitchell is that type of guy to me. I don't think he's quite as physical as Witherspoon was last year, but he's got great size, great arm length. He's got the speed you look for, and he's got the pedigree on film to really be a great corner in this league. The Steelers would certainly be lucky to get him if he falls to number 20. Then in round 2, they have the Steelers taking Edgerrin Cooper, inside linebacker out of Texas A&M, with the 52nd overall pick in this year's draft. And I don't like this pick as much, guys. I'm not going to lie. Now, the pros is definitely stuff that the Steelers are going to be looking for in a potential linebacker prospect this year, because he's really good in pass coverage, whether it's man or whether it's zone. He's got really good instincts, and he can really stick with players as well. So he's very trustable as a tackler as well. I don't really foresee any issues in terms of tackling in the league, and he plays with really great motor. He plays with great effort. He's a great kid. He's going to be good for the locker room if the Steelers end up drafting him. Now, the cons. He's not exactly the ideal size for like a real elite inside linebacker in this league. 6'3", 230 pounds, could be a little bit heavier. The pass rushing isn't fantastic. He's kind of stiff as an athlete. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's got some power, but overall, he's not going to provide much for you in terms of blitzing or coming off the edge or versatility in that way. So for me, I have a day 2 grade on him. I think it's probably going to go in the 3rd round. So I'm not a huge fan of taking him in the 2nd round, where in this mock draft here, we're taking a corner and an inside linebacker, but we need a center. We need an offensive tackle. We have other needs to address, and we're going inside linebacker when we already have a really solid number 1 and number 2 inside linebacker on the roster. I just don't understand this pick here from PFF personally, but I do like the Quinyon Mitchell pick quite a bit. But now pick one for me down there in the comments section. So out of these mock drafts that we've talked about today, would you rather go Jaden Daniels and trade up for him? Would you rather go Amarius Mims at number 20, offensive tackle? Or would you rather go corner with Quinyon Mitchell there at number 20 overall? Type JD if you want to go get the quarterback and you don't care what it takes to trade up for him. Type AM for Amarius Mims. You want that tackle that's a carbon copy of Broderick Jones. Or QM down there in the comment section for Quinyon Mitchell if you want to give Joey Porter Jr. a really good running mate on the other side of the secondary. And that'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure to go follow me on Twitter for additional Steelers content. And if you do so, I will give you a shout-out on a future edition of Steelers Talk. So shout out to Caden and Quam. I hope I'm saying that right. We got Mario, Drake, Julio, and Kelly. Thank you so much for all of your guys' support. And again, for more Steelers draft coverage on my Twitter, I do a lot of my film analysis up on my Twitter. Make sure you guys give me a follow at Jack_Sperry. And make sure you click that subscribe button for wall-to-wall Steelers draft coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason. All right, Coop, 2 down, 2 to go.
Make sure you get your questions in. Use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat.
That's right. Hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to make sure you get your questions on the show. Okay, so what did you think about that trade idea from my guy Marcus Whitman, the franchise guy?
That was wild. I would not give that up for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I thought that the price was a little bit too pricey, and then especially because that quarterback, I mean, even if Jaden Daniels hits, I don't think he's going to be winning Super Bowls until at least year 3.
Exactly.
So it's
Steelers need to win a Super Bowl now.
Yeah, and we have the talent on the roster to win now, which is why I want to get somebody that's been in the league, whether that's a younger quarterback still on his rookie contract like Justin Fields, or whether that's a guy that you can get for the vet minimum and Russell Wilson, who was still top 10 in passer rating last year.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like Russell Wilson just sucks, all right? It's not like he's terrible at football now. I actually think the Broncos are making quite a big mistake by letting him go.
Well, they're number one, they're making a big mistake by letting him go. Number two, the cost in which they're eating to let him go is crazy.
Yeah, so if they were getting rid of Russell Wilson and the cost wasn't what it is, then I would maybe get it. You know, he's getting older, et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't get along with Sean Payton very well. I could see it, but
the cost is nuts.
The cost is astronomical, and this guy was top 10 in passer rating last year.
Are you joking?
He was top 3 in adjusted completion percentage. He still has a great deep ball. I mean, I know he's corny. I know that, his teams, the record hasn't been all that great the last several years, or last 3 years, I should say. Hasn't made the playoffs in a little bit. But, I mean, the production's still there. And it's not like he's a completely old man that can't throw the ball anymore. I mean, that's just not true if you watch the film.
True that.
So, I mean, I'd be okay with Russell Wilson. Personally, I'd rather get Justin Fields just because...
He's younger and more upside.
He's more of a long-term option, and I think he's a great fit for Arthur Smith's offense.
Now, I'll say this. If you trade for Justin Fields, you probably are trading him, or you're trading for him with the idea of an extension probably already agreed, right? I think so.
I wouldn't exactly say that. The reason why I say that, though, Coop, is because you're not selling the farm to get him.
That's fair.
So, like, if he's bad, then you just let him hit free agency and you draft a quarterback.
That would suck, but yes.
That would suck because you sent a draft pick to get him.
You're not giving up
but
the
it's
farm.
A draft pick this year, right? It's not going to affect future draft capital. So I'm willing to take that swing on Justin Fields because, guys, if he stinks and this team stinks next year because he's terrible, that means you can let Mike Tomlin go. All right, so for all the Tomlin haters out there that want him gone, all right, that's a good plan, right? Because if he stinks, then he's gone. And you can get a new quarterback. You can blow it up and rebuild. All right, so all these different things. I'm just sick and tired of like trying not to be terrible, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they're not trying to make that big move to take them to the next level. They're sticking with Kenny Pickett. They're sticking with Mason Rudolph. They're not going out and making the big move when I really want them to, because this team with George Pickens and whoever they have as wide receiver too, and the running back duo and the defense that we have, and you know, Mike Tomlin, one of the best leaders in the National Football League. I think if you get the right quarterback now with Arthur Smith, who I think could definitely be the right guy at OC, I mean, I think this team could compete for a Super Bowl, and we might be talking about, you know, Super Bowl week. We might be at the venue next year. Where's the Super Bowl next year, Coop?
Super Bowl next year, I want to say, is New Orleans.
We might be in New Orleans next year if you get the right quarterback, okay? So that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't think Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph gets you there, even if Kenny Pickett gets better.
I agree. It is New Orleans.
You know, even if Kenny Pickett develops into a decent starting quarterback, is a decent starting quarterback going to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Is a decent starting quarterback going to beat Josh Allen in the playoffs? What about Justin Herbert now that he has Jim Harbaugh? I'm not too sure. What about Joe Burrow in the playoffs? You think Kenny Pickett's beating him? I don't think so. So it's like even with the best case scenario for Kenny Pickett, all right, which is that he's like Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee's offense, right, back in the day. That's like the best case scenario for Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, given his talent level.
All right, you ready?
Is Ryan Tannehill beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? No. So let's get somebody that could potentially do it, all right? That's the one thing that I want to say. All right, so we got mailbag coming up here. We got enough questions.
Yes,
Thank you to everybody that submitted questions. So let's get into it right now. Steelers Talk mailbag coming at you right now. It is Super Bowl week, man, and right now there's a lot of rumors swirling around the Pittsburgh Steelers, quarterback talk, a bunch of different things. We're going to address all those rumors on today's edition of the Steelers Talk mailbag here. And if you want to get a question on a future edition of one of our mailbags here, make sure you guys click that subscribe button today to join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community here on YouTube. We have weekly live shows where you can get your questions in Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to have your voice heard right here on Steelers Talk, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us on Wednesdays. So I'll pause and open it up for questions here, starting with Cynthia. It says, hey, Jack, what should we do with Corey Trice Jr.? Keep him on the roster and see what you have in him when he comes back. I mean, obviously, he's had multiple knee injuries in his career, so his speed may be gone. It's very possible that Corey Trice Jr. is just not going to be a thing in the National Football League. I still like the pick to get him in the 7th round. He's absolutely worth that lottery ticket, whether he works out or not. But he certainly has the size. He's got the physicality. He's got the long arms that the Steelers really look for in starting corners for their team, and he's certainly somebody that fits that bill. I'm really hoping that kid can come into training camp next year and ball out. We got one from, guys, I can't say this, the Ohio State. You guys can deduce what that says. And he says, I heard Jim Harbaugh say that J.J. McCarthy is the best QB in this year's draft class. Could Justin Herbert to the Steelers be in play? I highly doubt it. All right, I've been saying for weeks that this is not going to happen. And if you're dreaming about Justin Herbert suiting up in the black and gold, at least next year, it's not going to happen, guys. I think one of the big reasons why Harbaugh took the job there in LA was because of Justin Herbert, all right? I mean, people spend draft capital, sometimes 3 first-round draft picks for the hope that that quarterback turns into Justin Herbert. So now that they have a guy like him, passing on him and trading him away for a guy like J.J. McCarthy, who I have a second-round grade on right now, I'm just not sure is a good idea for the Los Angeles Chargers. And it might be one of the worst decisions in the history of the National Football League when it's all said and done if something like that happens. So, if they offered, if you give us 3 first-rounders for Justin Herbert, I'd take that. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Would you trade 3 first-round picks, including this year's pick, okay? So the next 3 years of first-round picks in exchange for Justin Herbert. Type yes or no down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or no down there in the comments. Then we got one from Dominic here. He says, should the Steelers hire Hines Ward or Santonio Holmes as our wide receiver coach? I think Hines Ward, man. I mean, he was a head coach in I think it's called the UFL now with the San Antonio Brahmas. He's been around the league a little bit, in little assistant roles and all these different things. We actually talked to him on the show at Super Bowl week last year. He's a good guy. Obviously, he's Steelers legend. He knows the Steeler way. He knows what it takes to win championships, and he knows what it takes to be a great Steelers receiver. So what I love to see him as head coach or wide receiver coach, 100% bring Hines Ward back to the Steel City. So before we get into the rest of the questions on today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. And if you want this year's Super Bowl viewing experience to be even more interesting for yourself, you can get started today with Prize Picks, which is a skill-based, real money, daily fantasy sports game. Now, you might be asking yourselves, Jack, how does this work? Well, here's how you play. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can even win up to 25 times your money on any entry. So let's take a look at my entry for Super Bowl 58 between the 49ers and Chiefs. I'm an optimist, guys, so I'm going to take the more on Christian McCaffrey rush yards because he's awesome, and then I like both tight ends in this game in Travis Kelce and George Kittle to get more than their projected receiving yards on the Prize Picks app. You can get your picks in now before the big game kicks off on Sunday, but checking it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right now before Super Bowl 58 kicks off. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Then we got one from Gold Club member here, DJ KJ. And he says, can we trade a second-round pick for a QB and then use a first on an O-lineman? And would you rather draft a center or a right tackle? So, DJ, all these questions depend on what they do in free agency. Second-round pick, if somebody like Michael Penix Jr. is sitting there in the second round and Kenny Pickett is slated to be your starting quarterback, yeah, sure, we can get Michael Penix. But honestly, I'd be more in favor of getting somebody in the later rounds, like maybe a Spencer Rattler or a Talia Tagovailoa or a Michael Pratt, something like that, as opposed to getting somebody in the second round. I think the early round picks need to be focused on some of these bigger team needs, like you said. So offensive lineman in the first, absolutely would do that. And then between center and right tackle, which one's the bigger need? It's center, all right? Because you have Dan Moore Jr., who at least you can kind of trust on an NFL field. It's like a swing tackle. You can't trust Mason Cole. This brother stinks at, everything. Blocking, snapping the football. This guy is not a starting center in the league. You have to get a new center. So if you're choosing me to pick between center and right tackle, I'm picking a center. Then we got one from Ben Roethlisberger, and he says, why is James Washington not on a team? Because he stinks. That is why. I hate to break it to you. I'm sure you're a big James Washington fan if you're asking this question, but he's undersized, and he's not good at football, unfortunately. Then we got one from Thomas Bridge. And he says, what are the chances that Jalen Johnson is a Pittsburgh Steeler? Not high. okay? And the reason why I say that is because I think the Bears are going to franchise tag him. That's what I think, man. And if he gets franchise tagged, obviously Steelers pretty much have no shot at him unless he gets traded after he gets tagged, which I don't see happening. The Bears really like him. Jalen likes it there in Chicago, so if he gets tagged, I think he's just going to stay there. So I think that's what's going to happen. Don't think Jalen Johnson is going to be available, even though Omar Khan and the Steelers did try to trade for him at the NFL trade deadline, and I think they will be interested. Now, shout out your guy down there in the comment section. Which free agent do you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to sign? Do you want Jalen Johnson? Do you want L'Jarius Sneed? Do you want Tyler Boyd to come back to the city of Pittsburgh? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Which free agent do you want to see in black and gold next year? And make sure you guys to click that thumbs up icon if you love the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're a real one. What clicking that thumbs up icon does for our channel is it tells the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to new people that haven't seen our content before. So if you want to help us grow and help do your part to make this the best damn Steelers channel on YouTube, it already is, but who are we kidding? But let's make it even bigger. Make sure you click that thumbs up icon right now. Then we got one from Christian Andujar, and he says, for the Steelers' first pick, who would you rather draft, Cooper DeJean or an offensive tackle? And, like DJ's question earlier, it depends on what happens in free agency, because obviously if they take, say, L'Jarius Sneed in free agency and then they maybe even sign Trent Brown as a tackle, then you're not going to be drafting an offensive tackle, right? So if they get an offensive tackle in free agency, that takes away that need. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Steelers do there. But if you don't pick up a free agent offensive tackle, which is fairly likely for the Steelers, that means you got to address offensive tackle, and you probably got to do it within the first 2 rounds. This is a very deep offensive tackle class, but it's really, really hard to find good tackles, and they usually go early, all right? So you got to get one early. But for me, man, I love Cooper DeJean. I took him in my first Steelers mock draft that came out just a couple days ago. So for me, I'm going to go Cooper DeJean because I think he's a souped-up version of Brian Branch, and I want that versatility on this defense. Then we got one from Damian Roy. He says 1.9% with an OC that had predictable play calling. Can't win with you guys get it, play calling. Well, you also can't win with a quarterback that's like 37th in accuracy rating, okay? You just can't. I mean, it's not, with respect, Damian, all right? I love you, my man. It's not either or, all right? It's not Kenny Pickett sucks or Matt Canada sucks. It's very possible that both of them were terrible, all right? It's so possible. I mean, in fact, for these numbers to be this historically bad, both of them have to be bad, right? It can't be that one. I mean, Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback. You would think he'd put up at least Mason Rudolph's numbers, right? But no, he didn't. He was worse than Mason this past year, and he started the year as the third-string quarterback. All right, so I don't think – so obviously the play calling sucked with Matt Canada. I think we all acknowledge that. You guys know how much I hated Matt Canada. But Kenny Pickett, as somebody that has watched every single snap of that 2023 season on all 22 at least 3 or 4 times, Kenny Pickett was terrible. There was opportunities for him to hit guys down the field. On the rare occasions Canada actually got people open for him, he would miss them because he's not accurate. So I'm not somebody that thinks Kenny Pickett is an accurate quarterback. I don't think he's a good quarterback, and I think both Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett were bad last year. That's why the offense was as bad as it was. Then we got one from Spider2, Why Banana? I love that one right there, man. And he says, which a mid to late round quarterback or quarterbacks would you be okay with the Steelers taking in this year's NFL draft? So I like Spencer Rattler. All right, I like that idea because he's got the talent to be a starter, all right? And if you can find a quarterback with enough talent to be a starter on day 3, that is such a steal. I think Rattler was the best quarterback at the Senior Bowl, maybe other than Michael Penix, but he was really good. He was the MVP of the game. And if you can get him at like 119 in the 4th round, I don't think he gets that low, but if he falls that much, I think you'd probably take him if you just have Kenny Pickett in a backup. I think that's probably the guy. And then Talia Tagovailoa, another guy to keep your eye on. I watched him live at the Shrine Bowl last week, and this guy was playing at a different speed than anybody else on the field. Now, I know the Shrine Bowl is a little bit lower of a class than the Senior Bowl, but there's still D1 athletes out there, and he was playing pretty darn fast, and he was playing loose, and he was letting it rip, and he really played well. So if he falls to like the 6th round, which is where he's expected to be, I think the Steelers have to think about taking him. I like Talia Tagovailoa as well. Now let me know down there in the comment section, which QB do you want the Steelers to draft this year? Do you want them to trade up for one of the top guys? Do you want them to wait and maybe take like a J.J. McCarthy? Do you want to wait even longer and get a guy like Spencer Rattler? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Let me know which QB you want the Steelers to draft this year. And hey, if you don't want them to draft any quarterbacks, just let me know that down there in the comment section. And for a shout out on a future edition of Steelers Talk, you can go follow me at Jack_Sperry. So today's shout out to Michael, JT, Jimmy, C. Antoine Hill. Antoine Hill, I guess, created 2 accounts just to follow me. So I appreciate the double shout out there, Antoine. We got Shadow, we got Kaylee, and we got Tyler. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. And all you have to do is go to Twitter right now, go to at Jack_Sperry, and give me a follow for a shout out on a future edition of Steelers Talk. And of course, make sure you click that subscribe button for the most interactive Steelers content here on YouTube. We do these live watch parties every single week on Wednesdays. So if you want to get a question on next week's mailbag, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us on Wednesday. All right. 3 down, 1 to go. All right.
Mute your computer. Your Slack was popping off.
No, I think it's my phone.
Oh.
Yeah, it's my phone. Could you hear it on the mic?
No, you couldn't hear it on the mic.
Okay. Well, those are some really good questions, man. But, something that really annoys me, Coop.
Spider through white banana.
When it comes to the Kenny Pickett discussion this offseason, I think there's too many people that use Matt Canada as kind of like as a scapegoat and they use him to be like, Kenny Pickett isn't responsible for anything that he has done the last 2 years because who could have played well in that system? Well, Mason Rudolph did.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph won 3 straight games, had the highest quarterback rating. I know he didn't play against high-level competition, but he was way better than Kenny Pickett.
Everyone knows that Canada stunk, but it's not just Canada's fault. Both of them are to blame.
I mean, there are many examples on Kenny Pickett's film where, like, Matt Canada has schemed open George Pickens over the middle of the field.
Kenny just can't find him.
And he, overthrows him by 5 yards.
Yeah.
How is that Matt Canada's fault? Is that bad scheme that he's scheming guys wide open at times? You got to be able to hit the layups. And, Matt Canada didn't give Kenny Pickett many layups, granted. But even when those layups were given to him, he wasn't hitting it. So it's like, how is that going to change with the new offensive play caller? I don't understand it. This guy was 37th in completion percentage, and he was a check down Charlie. He was 34th in average depth of target.
Are you joking?
I mean, it's like, how can you be checking it down every down, essentially, being a check down guy, and being 37th in the league in completion percentage? That stat just boggles my mind.
Out with the negative with Kenny, in with the positive. On our final segment today, we are going to tell you why TJ Watt deserves to win DPOY, which he absolutely does over that fraud stiff Myles Garrett.
All right, man. Yeah, I've been talking, and by the way, I know I've been talking in a negative connotation to Kenny Pickett today. I like the kid. All right.
Sure.
I think there's certain elements to his game that I like. I like the fact that he's come up clutch in the fourth quarter. All right. 7 game-winning drives. You can't ignore that. Also, good outside the pocket. He's a good outside the pocket thrower. Decent playmaker with decent instincts out there. All right. And obviously the leadership and the intangibles are what you look for in a franchise quarterback. But man, you got to be accurate in this league to be a starting quarterback that can win Super Bowls. And Kenny Pickett just wasn't that last year. He just wasn't. So, as somebody that's trying to be objective here, somebody that wants the Steelers to succeed, somebody that is tired of losing in the first round of the playoffs every year, I think you got to get a more dynamic quarterback talent, somebody that's more accurate, somebody that at least that maybe is a little bit more dynamic with his legs, and somebody that I think can lead you to a Super Bowl in the years to come. We got a $2 super chat here.
Omar's Burner.
From Omar's Burner, a $2 super chat. What's up, my man? He says, so Sperry can go to Indy and maybe Coop. I don't think Coop's going. I think it would just be me.
If you get enough likes, maybe.
If we get enough likes.
We get 3,000 likes.
So we did say earlier in the week that if we get enough subscribers, so it's not likes, it's actually subscribers. If we add 1,000 subscribers to our channel this week, our bosses are going to send me to Indianapolis for the NFL draft, for the NFL Combine this year. So if you guys want to help that effort here, you want to click that subscribe button so we can get you guys some exclusive content from Indy. Make sure you click that subscribe button. And without further ado here, let's get into this final segment here. We've been talking a little bit negatively about Kenny Pickett today, but let's end it on a positive note here. Why T.J. Watt deserves to be Defensive Player of the Year in 2023 in the National Football League. The NFL Honors is tonight here on Friday night, and I think T.J. Watt deserves to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's pretty obvious, but apparently the voters and all these different things, they seem to disagree, and they think it's a toss-up between him and Myles Garrett. Today on Steelers Talk, I'm going to tell you and give you guys my case for why T.J. Watt deserves to be Defensive Player of the Year in 2023 and win his second DPOY of his career. But first, man, we're in a little bit of a like battle today with the Cleveland Browns Report. Matthew Peterson, the host there of the Browns Report, has been running his mouth again, and he thinks that he can beat us in a like battle. They did a pretty darn good job on yesterday's video, I'm not going to lie. Over 1,300 likes, but this is what Matthew Peterson had to say about T.J. Watt and the Defensive Player of the Year award trophy. I absolutely love how much Steelers fans cry about T.J. Watt not winning Defensive Player of the Year this year, when Myles Garrett is the clear choice. His Pro Football Focus grade is higher, has a higher double team rate, and his team's defense was clearly better in 2023. This isn't even a discussion. Garrett's the clear winner here. So if you disagree with Matthew Peterson here, make sure you click that thumbs up icon.
F the Browns, dude.
The Browns.
They're the Cleveland Steamers. Myles Garrett's the most overrated player in the league. That guy freaking stinks.
Guys, we cannot lose to the Browns, just like how TJ's not going to lose tonight. We can't lose to the Browns Report. Click that thumbs up icon and help us out and help us beat the Browns today. All right, so let's start here with Peter King from NBC Sports on this award and how he voted, because he is a voter for these awards here. This is how he voted. I picked Garrett. In order, my top 5 were Garrett, Parsons, Watt, Crosby, and Mack. Garrett was high in both PFF grade and next-gen pass rush metrics, and his team was the number 1 defense in football. Well, here's the thing, Peter King. Cleveland finished like 13th in points per game allowed, so I don't know how you came to that conclusion. But let's dissect each one of these reasonings here on the show, because instead of telling you why T.J. Watt probably deserves to win this, I'm going to tell you why Myles Garrett probably doesn't deserve to win this trophy. So number 1 here, Peter King, this is an individual award, all right? So the number 1 reason that he had was that the Cleveland Browns defense was better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I'm sorry, are we just giving this award to the best defensive player and the best defense in football? Because if that's the case, Justin Madubuike or Kyle Hamilton, congratulations, you're the Defensive Player of the Year, because the Ravens were actually the best defense in football this year. So I don't want to hear any of that garbage from Peter King, because this is an individual award. I don't think it's even close which guy had the most production in the league this year from a defensive player, and that's Mr. T.J. Watt. Reasoning number 2, his Pro Football Focus grade was better than T.J. Watt's, which is true. But that's the one metric where he's actually better than T.J. Watt. And you look at all these numbers here, okay? Sacks, pressures, QB hits, QB hurries, tackles for loss, tackles, solo tackles, interceptions, forced fumbles and fumble recoveries, pass deflections, and touchdowns. All of them favor T.J. Watt. And the guy on the right is supposed to win the Defensive Player of the Year? Are you fucking joking me? No way. T.J. Watt is better than Myles Garrett. He was more productive than this year. I don't care what the freaking Pro Football Focus grade says. So coming up here, there's actually one reasoning that makes somewhat of a case for Myles Garrett to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's the best case for it. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And if you're thinking about getting tickets to the big game in Vegas on Sunday, then use today's sponsor, Game Time, to help make getting those expensive tickets just a little bit easier. For all of our listeners, if you use the code VEGAS100 on the Game Time app, you'll get a $100 off to get your butt to Allegiant Stadium on February 11th, this Sunday, to watch the NFC and AFC champions duke it out for the Lombardi Trophy in the biggest game of the year. Not only is Game Time offering that $100 off to the big game, but they are also the fastest growing ticketing app in the country. Game Time boasts a lowest price guarantee on all tickets to any event, so it's the only ticketing app that you need on your phone. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are also sent directly to your phone, another great feature that other apps don't have, so you never have to dig through your email to get your tickets. Snag the ticks without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat. That code is SteelersChat, one word, all caps. You can see it right down there on the bottom right of your screen for $20 off your first purchase with Game Time today. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat, one word, all caps, for $20 off. And for $100 off your ticket to the big game in Vegas on Sunday night, use code VEGAS100, one word, all caps. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So the other reasoning here is that Myles Garrett's double team percentage in 2023 was higher than TJ Watt's, and because Myles Garrett had really good production with that double team rate, that's what makes him worthy of winning the Defensive Player of the Year this year. So let's take a look at the top double team rates in the National Football League. It's not like TJ Watt is like 20th in this, okay? He's top 5 in the National Football League with a 14% double team rate. Myles Garrett is at 29%. But here's the thing. The Steelers have 5 down linemen, especially on early downs, most of the time. And they like to send all 5 guys. So it's really hard to double team a guy when you have 5 people rushing the passer at one time, because every offensive lineman has to take one guy. There's no room to double team. So, I mean, because the Steelers are good at scheming their best edge rusher one-on-one on the outside, that means that Myles Garrett deserves Defensive Player of the Year. We're going to punish TJ Watt for that? Give me a freaking break, all right? If we're going to go by double team rate, by the way, why not go with Micah Parsons? He had a better double team rate than Myles Garrett. He still had elite production. Why not give it to him? Somebody answer that question for me. But no, people are just going to use this stat to propagate a narrative that Myles Garrett, because he hasn't won it before and they want the new shiny toy to win the award, that he deserves to win it. When all the numbers, all the statistics, all the production points to TJ Watt winning this award. It's pretty simple to me, guys. This is an individual award, and it's based on who produced the most as a defensive player in the National Football League for this season. And when you look at the numbers, it's not a comparison. All right, TJ Watt was the best and most productive defensive player in football this year, and honestly, I don't think it's particularly close. This should not be a conversation, but because people want Myles Garrett to win, unfortunately, I do think he's going to be walking away with the trophy tonight, even though he doesn't deserve it. So who does deserve it? Let me know down there in the comments section. Type TJ if you think TJ Watt deserves it. I hope I'm seeing a lot of TJs down there, man. Support your boy down there. MG if you think Myles Garrett, all right? If you think, you're an objective Steelers fan and you think Myles Garrett is better, type MG. Or if you think Micah Parsons, the other guy in the mix here, should win it, type MP down there in the comments section. And if you want to shout out on a future edition of Steelers Talk here, you can go ahead and give me a follow at Jack_Sperry. I put my NFL draft film analysis on there. I give you guys Steelers updates every single day as well. So make sure you go give me a follow at Jack_Sperry for a shout out on the show. For today's shout outs, shout out to He Can't Flick It, Luca Raymond. That's one of the all-time great profile picks right there, man. That's Shrek doing cocaine, man. Love it. Then we got Jacorius, we got Mark Weber, and we got Luke Gardner. Big shout out to those guys. Thank you for all of your support. And make sure you click that subscribe button because we got in-depth Steelers coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason. We're going live for any breaking news that happens. If they trade for a quarterback, when they sign players in free agency, we're going to have the most extensive Steelers coverage on YouTube, 100% free for you guys. So make sure you click that subscribe button to join the largest Steelers talk show here on YouTube right now. All right. We got another $2 here?
We did. From Omar's Burner, he said, the hate for Kenny Pickett is justified, and I made the pick. F Omar down in the chat.
But, this actually reminds me of something here, Coop, because people say there's no way the Steelers will trade or get a different starting quarterback this year because of the organizational history, right? That they don't move off of people too quickly, that they take their time, all these different things. But here's the thing, man. Omar Khan has completely changed life in the front office there in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
He comes from the Philadelphia Eagles, arguably the most aggressive front office in the game today.
No doubt.
So if Omar thinks Kenny Pickett isn't the guy, I could totally see him making a big move for a guy like Justin Fields.
Absolutely.
Or a Russell Wilson, all right? I'm not putting it past Omar 1 second to do something that he thinks is justified to help win this team a Super Bowl and quickly. And I think that making that move for a new quarterback is absolutely what he needs to do. Then we got one $5 super chat here from Steelers Dad. What's up, Steelers Dad? By the way, Steelers Dad, if you put in a $10 super chat, you get a raffle ticket for the F the Browns T-shirt. Come on now. Says, if TJ does not win Defensive Player of the Year, I will be pissed. There's no other choice, excuse me. As always, I appreciate it.
I agree with you.
I agree with you, man. I'm going to be sitting there, and I'm going to be pissed that if it was Micah Parsons getting it, I would still be mad, but I wouldn't
Understandable.
I wouldn't be like seething, all right? Because TJ Watt might get this award stripped from him and stolen from him by a Cleveland Browns player that clearly doesn't deserve this award. I mean, I'll be seething. I can't even explain the way that I'll be feeling tomorrow if that ends up being the case. Thank you for your $5 super chat, Steelers Dad. We appreciate you and your support.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so is that it for the super chats?
That is it.
All right, man. So let's show the super chat menu one more time. I'm going to put, let me see. I'm going to put a 3-minute shot clock on there for anybody that wants to get super chats in. Okay, so we're doing some special promotions on the show here, guys. We're about to sign off, but we're doing a raffle for the month of February. Every $10 spent gets you a raffle ticket to potentially win this F the Browns T-shirt. Can we show the T-shirt real quick, Coop? We have an F the Browns T-shirt that will be given away at the end of the month. Every $10 spent gets you in the running to win this shirt. So if you get like a $100 super chat, you get 10 raffle tickets, all right? $50 super chat, you get 5 tickets, all right? So every $10 that you spend on the show in the month of February, you get a raffle ticket to win this shirt, okay? So really do appreciate your support. Also, $20 super chats. We already got Maryland to come in here. Coop, can we go back to the super chat menu real quick? Get your name on the Steelers helmet, all right? You guys know we did the hard hat during the season for our watch parties. For the offseason, we got a brand new helmet here that we're going to fill up with names all throughout the offseason, and then we'll raffle this off at the end of the offseason to bring in a new year of Steelers football. And then also we got another special promotion. Every $50 super chat that we get here puts you in the race to win the MVP of the month, okay? So essentially the way it's going to break down here is that the person that spends the most $50 super chats for the month of February is going to win this customized Steelers Talk jersey, number 29, and it says February Yins MVP. So this is the only jersey in the world that will say this with this number, and if you wear this to Acrisure Stadium, if you wear this out, people are going to know that you are an MVP of the month right here on Steelers Talk. So $50 super chats puts you in the running. We haven't gotten to 50 today, so if someone sends in a 50, you'll take the lead, and the jersey will be yours, at least for now. All right, so appreciate your guys' support. We got $2 super chat here from Hot Rod. And he says, really late today, boys, but I got my towel today. It's about damn time, Hot Rod. I'm glad your towel came today. Hope you enjoy it. And speaking of the towels, man, let's wave that towel around a little bit.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
Gotta love it, my friend. We got about 100 real ones still in the chat right now. Thank you so much for all of your support. From me and Coop, I hope that you guys...
Yes, sir.
Actually, I want to give a little bit of a plug here. We are going to be going live on the Chat Sports main YouTube channel.
We will.
For the Super Bowl. All right, so if you want to come hang out with Coop and I during the Super Bowl, we're actually doing a watch party on Chat Sports Main. So make sure you go click that subscribe button for Chat Sports Main. Join us on Sunday. Join us on Sunday for that watch party, Super Bowl watch party between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Hopefully, we'll be doing a Super Bowl watch party on Steelers in New Orleans.
Let's go!
I'm hoping that that's the case, all right? So really do appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure you join us on Sunday for that watch party on Chat Sports Main. And until next time,